I'm Bev. Welcome to Love Your Garden with Lasher Tools. Today we're going to show you how to transplant 3 various plants. We're going to be doing our agapanthus, the iris, and the other one is our tulbachia. Okay, here you can see I have the agapanthus plants in my hand with their beautiful long, slender basal foliage. They have gorgeous white fleshy roots. To separate them, you need to dig them out of the ground, obviously, shake all the sand off them and pull them apart. If they don't pull apart very easily, you can actually position a spade between them and give them a good chop with a spade and just cut them off, as long as each plant has a couple of roots like these. Now, before you dig them out, you need to actually have your hole prepared. And what we do is we dig the hole, fill your hole with water and let that water dissipate. As soon as the water is gone, take a handful of bone meal, which is great when you're busy planting new plants or transplanting like we are now. Take one of your plants, make sure that the roots that hold your stems, the leaves up, make sure that your roots are nicely spread in the hole, and then we fill up with our compost. Make sure that the roots are properly covered, and then the last thing you need to do is hold the leaves up so that you don't stand on them, and tamp down the soil with your feet. Your plant needs to feel secure in the ground and that it will actually stand up. And now it's just really a case of watering it. We've planted our aggies and we now need to water them. Agapanthus need regular watering. After you've planted them, it's good to give them a really good soaking, and then thereafter just play it by ear and see how the weather goes. The colder the weather, you then just really need to water them once a week. Here we have our iris. It has a rhizoid root system. You can see the mother rhizome is this big fat one, and these 2 little ones are called increases, or babies if you like. Now we're going to separate them, and the reason we're going to be separating and transplanting the iris is because the mother plant only bears 1 flower in its lifetime. So these irises need to be transplanted every 2 to 4 years. And what we do is we literally cut the mother rhizome off, and we separate these 2. We discard the mother rhizome, we don't use her again, and we plant these 2. Now you'll see the rhizomes are on the top. Underneath it's got beautiful fibrous root, and what we do when we plant it is we make sure that all the roots are in the ground and that the soil barely covers the top of the rhizome. Okay, so here we're separating the mother rhizome from the babies. There we go. This one will be discarded. These 2 need to be separated. Put your knife in a clean cut right the way through. Make sure it's cut. There we go. Okay, now the thing to do is you'll see that you've got the open rhizome. This needs to stand for 2 or 3 days to what we call scab over. In other words, this open bit of flesh seals before it's planted. If you plant it before, you could end up with a diseased rhizome, and you don't want that to happen. So we would just leave it in a cool, open, airy place and make sure that it's scabbed over, and then we would be ready to plant. Here we have our irises in the trench. We don't dig a big hole, so it's a shallow trench. Make sure that the roots are in, and we just make sure that we cover the roots. You can see the rhizome is here. We're going to leave that little bit bare, just slightly covered. And here we go with this one. Get rid of any bigger stones that might be there, and literally press the roots down, but keep your rhizome just barely covered. Right, we've planted our irises nice and firmly in. The other plants that I spoke about were the tulbachia. This is our indigenous wild garlic, and once they're planted, they actually start clumping together. So they definitely need to be transplanted. So what we do is you just dig them up. They come up quite easily, and you actually see there's no problem in separating them. They come up quite loose like this. If there's a bit of soil in between, give them a good shake, and they literally fall apart in your hands. This is the flower that they have. Lovely plant to have in the garden.